Hi, I'm Jackie Hayes, and you're listening to Here's What I Learned. On this podcast, we pull back the curtain on the ins and outs of running a coaching business. Join me as I talk with life and business coaches about the behind the scenes of running a coaching business. Sit back, take notes, and enjoy.
Pick one small thing and make that change, and then adapt as you go. That is truly feminist.
On today's episode, we're talking with feminist business coach Melanie Childers. Melanie is a multi-six-figure business coach for feminist entrepreneurs and an F-bomb enthusiast. She's fucking up hustle culture and helping her clients create businesses that feel energizing so they can make bank and give back in big ways without burning out. Thank you so much for being here today. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what it is that you do?
Hi, thank you for having me. My name is Melanie Childers, and I'm a business coach for badass feminist entrepreneurs who are blowing up their businesses and making more money and impact without wearing themselves out.
Now, I like to start my episodes with rapid fire questions. I feel like it gives the audience a chance to sneak peek of who you actually are. So the first one is, what one movie do you stop and watch whenever it's on TV, no matter how many times you've seen it?
Oh my gosh. And you want me to rapid fire answer?
I have like 20, so don't worry.
I know, I'm like, that's not fair. I have so many. Honestly, Dangerous Liaisons. It's old. It's vibey. It's beautiful. It's stunning. I think I've seen it about 300 times.
And that's one of the things that, on a past podcast guest, with all the streaming that goes on now, we don't stumble across things like this anymore. I don't remember the last time I've seen Dangerous Liaisons. So
it's been a while.
Going to have to go look for that on streaming. Second question. If you were to audition for The Voice, what would be your audition song?
Okay, so it is an Italian punk goth band called Lacuna Coil, and the song is called Our Truth. I can nail that song like a mofo. I got that one.
Is that like one of those that you like sing really, really loud with all the windows down kind of songs?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay. I will be looking for that as soon as we are done with this interview.
I'll send you a link. It's amazing.
Perfect. I'm needing one of those right now. All right, last question. What is one thought that is currently challenging you right now? And what are you doing to create a shift in your thinking?
Oh, another unfair question. I'm like, but there are so many, Jackie.
That's the thing with coaches. They're all aware of the thoughts that they need to be working on.
I got a lot of them. They all feel really true right now. I think my biggest challenge right now is we just got a puppy a couple of weeks ago, and he's wonderful and smart and amazing, but he's also a handful and very stubborn and doesn't listen. And so I think my biggest challenging thought right now is that I can't have a puppy and run a business at the same time. And I'm getting a lot of coaching. I'm doing a lot of coaching on it. I'm challenging it a lot. It just feels real sticky right now. I'm like, yeah, but I literally have you're getting one of my precious hours for the day. So let's put it that way. I get maybe 2, sometimes 3 if I'm lucky, until he's able to go to like doggy daycare a couple of days a week. And then I'll have full days back again and I won't know what to do with myself, but.
Yeah. And for everybody, it's Derby, correct?
It's Derby. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a Boston Terrier. He's the cutest thing. He is a Tasmanian devil. You literally can't take your eyes off him, or he will eat something, tear something up, or he's trying to kill himself somehow. Yeah. He doesn't know he's not indestructible.
And with like humans, eventually they grow up and you can reason with them. But with dogs, that's just never going to happen. It doesn't matter if they're outside the puppy stage or not. It's like, no, really, you can't eat that. You will die. So.
Yes, you will die. Please stop.
Yep.
Let's not lick the light sockets. Bad idea. All the way around, always and forever. Let's not do that.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to just preface this for all the listeners that they actually should probably pause listening to this episode. And I want them to go listen to episode 36 of your Bad Bitch Entrepreneur podcast, where you talk about your feminist business guidelines.
Yes.
I would love for them to be familiar with those, because a lot of this conversation is going to be tied to that. And instead of us rehashing it, they can just go listen to your podcast. So one of your guidelines is that slowing down actually will speed up the growth of your business as opposed to, hustling and then burning out. And I
Yeah.
think our culture is so inclined to hard work and is hustle, and that your business is just going to stagnate or it's not going to grow if you're not constantly working on it. So can you talk a little bit about why it would actually help speed up the process of your business growing?
Sure. And I think it helps to start with some of the foundation of what has created this idea that we have to work all the time in order to be successful. So I want to recommend a book. It is called Do Nothing by Celeste Headley, where she spends probably the first 50 to 65% of the book talking about what created what we now call hustle culture, which is that this belief that you must work 24/7, get to the office before everybody else, be the last one to leave at night, be, burning the midnight oil, working nights and weekends, even on your vacation while you go to this beautiful place, you can take your laptop and still be working on the beach. And a lot of it comes from, yes, the industrial evolution and colonization. And it has religious roots too, that in order to be a quote good person, you must work hard and be humble. And it's part of the American dream, right? Like work hard and you will get what you want. Your dreams will come true. That's the underlying narrative of all of it. And so what I want to say about this is that this is such deep programming and has been so deeply programmed for so long, for so many of us, that you can't just break it in one go. Like, this is something I'm still working on, even right now in this moment. And it's something that I teach, and it's something I still have to work through myself always, because my brain is the first to go to, well, just give me a to-do list and I can get the things done. And the to-do list never ends, friends. It never freaking ends. So the way that I think about slowing down to speed up is that the work that I teach so many of my clients to do is to challenge this narrative that you must work harder and work more in order to have more success. So I have a lot of entrepreneurs come to me and they've made 50 or 75 or 100K in their business. And they're like, okay, but I want to have huge impact and I want to make a lot of money. I want to have this lifestyle and, influence, all of these people. But I don't want to do the work that it's going to take to get there, because if I had to work so hard to get to 100K, it's going to be 10 times the work to get to 1 million. And the truth is that that's just a lie. That's just not true. But that's what everybody thinks. And so this concept of slowing down is to be present and be in your body and work on who you are being in the world, because it's not about the to-do list. We can action ourselves to death. What creates your success over the long term to millions is who you are being, not what you are doing. So you actually, as you scale and grow your business, you personally do less work in the business and you do more work being the person who runs the business, being the person who is being influential, being the person who is believing in the difference that you're making way before anybody else ever believes you with you. That is the work. And what we have to do is slow down our brain and unfuck. Can I say fuck here?
Oh, yes, please do.
Oh, yes. Awesome. And unfuck all of that thinking and be present and honor our bodies so that we're not burning out and wearing out our adrenals, so that we can think like a CEO and do the things that will actually create momentum in our business. Because so many of us are doing busy work that we don't have to be doing. We should be outsourcing.
I try and separate out hard work and hustle. Like,
yes,
there is going to be hard work. Your mindset, shifting your mindset is hard work.
That is hard work. Yeah.
That's not hustle, right?
Yes. Yeah. And to me, like, the hard work is is intentionally going to work to create the results that you want in your business, whereas the hustle is fueled by anxiety and fear and freak out, right? And that's the part that I've had to work so hard on personally, because I operate on that dopamine hit of panic and having a to-do list. And it's like, okay, well, I got my to-do list. I know what to do. I just need to sit down and go as fast as I can and get it all done. And then tomorrow there will magically be another damn to-do list. And I got to get it all done. And that hustle is what will wear you out and burn you out. Versus hard work comes from a more sustainable, intentional decision of what are the most important things that I can accomplish today? How do I want to feel accomplishing them? And who am I going to be? And then delegate or delete everything else.
I think too, there's a little bit of internal motivation versus external motivation too. Like everything you're saying, I'm hearing these are all things that are internally motivated when we're talking hard work, as opposed to hustle is so often coming back to that religious undertone of our worth is based on our productivity. And, so I have to produce so I can show that I'm worthy and people can see me in a certain way.
Yeah, 100%.
You were talking a little bit about how when your business grows, you become less and less the person who is doing those daily tasks. You start outsourcing. And one of your guidelines is there's no hierarchy. And I know that people coming from a corporate background are like, oh, wait a minute, what? Or I have heard some say, I don't want to bring on teams because I'm afraid of the experience that I had in corporate, and I don't want to create that myself, but they don't know another model. So I know that you have and may still have people on your team. What does that look like in your business then, as the CEO of your business, but you have team members?
Sure. Yeah. And I think, when I first encountered that concept that removing hierarchy from your business, I was like, well, if there's no leadership, then it's just chaos. It's going to be chaos. And that's not what that means. It doesn't mean there's no leadership. It means that there's leadership with love, leadership with compassion, leadership with understanding, and leadership with autonomy for your people. And trusting that they can get the job done, and trusting and handing over the things that you need to delegate. And I think that has been one of my biggest struggles too, is like, it's so much because I've done so much in my business myself, handing it over to somebody else takes practice, and it takes trust, and it takes, honoring someone else's genius, that I hired them for a reason. I can trust them to do their job. And yeah, like it was never about like, oh, I don't trust them enough. It was more, but I can do this so much faster than it would take me to teach them. So let me just do it. Right. And there is nothing more satisfying than knowing that you can trust the person that you've hired to do the job and handing them things and really truly seeing them as an equal. I think that that's where the no hierarchy comes in, is that I don't see my VA as, someone who I'm quote only paying X amount of dollars an hour. It's like, no, this person's part of my team. We collaborate together. We make decisions together. We support each other. If she's having a rough day, I'll check in with her. How are you? How are you feeling? Is everything okay? What do you need from me? How can I support you? And she does the same. There's none of this like directive, pushy, CEO behavior that I think people equate with being a CEO. It's really like, hey, I'm here for you. You're here for me. Awesome. We can support each other all the way. And that is such a beautiful thing. It's really just taking the authority away in a punitive sense, I think, and giving authority to your employees and trusting that they're smart. You hired them for a reason. They can do the job. And if they can't, you'll know what to do. You'll know how to help them course correct or find someone else if that doesn't work.
I think it comes down to what kind of leadership are you taking? Are you leading over people? Are you leading with people? Are you leading for people? You can choose any one of those, and it's going to change the whole dynamic of the relationship.
Yeah. And I definitely, I worked corporate jobs, I worked small businesses, I worked startups. I know what it is like to be led over, and I hated every second of it. And I was like, how do I not do that in my business? Because that is not what I want, and that is not the dynamic that I want my employees to have, or my contractors, or anybody who ever works for me. I don't want them to see me and go, she's just going to give me more shit to do, and I'm going to hate her for it. Like, no. If that's what's happening, we should have a conversation, because that's not what I ever want to have in my business.
I think too, all of us who have been in the corporate world, in that, never wanting to go into work kind of a thing, so often we felt like our job was, they don't care about me as the person in the role. They don't really even care about the role. They can slide anybody else in. They don't see the role as essential to the success of the company. But if you look at everybody on your team as just their role is just as essential as your role as the CEO, then that kind of shifts that whole mindset of, who's more important, I guess you could say.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of people equate being a CEO with being powerful. And yeah, there's a power dynamic there, and you get to decide how you approach it and how you treat it and how you lead. And we all get to make that decision for ourselves and create the culture that we want to create. And I think that that's really what we're doing, is creating, having these guidelines in place is to create cultures that are loving and kind and compassionate and of service to everyone who works with you, no matter what their role is, right? Like, treat people like humans. It's not that hard. It's really not.
Oh, yes, it's not. And yet, poor corporate America can't figure that one out.
I think that they just decide not to in a lot of different scenarios.
Well, and I think, too, there isn't a lot of training for leadership when it comes to corporate positions. You did good at your job. We're going to, promote you, but we're not going to give you the skills that you need to actually now lead the people that you're overseeing. So,
yeah. And there's certainly not a whole lot of training in what we're talking about right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So you said in your podcast that one of your guidelines is defining your own success. What does success look like to you, and how did you come to that? Because so much of our upraising, at least within the United States, is success is dollar amounts. Success are the number of things that you have. How did you get to your definition?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I think it's evolving, right? Like, initially my idea of success was like, when I hit $1 million, I will call myself successful. But even now, as I have a multi-six-figure company and will cross $1 million later this year, it's different, right? Like, I hear a lot of people call me successful, and I'm like, oh, I still don't identify that way? Interesting. Cool. Maybe I should. Maybe, just maybe, I should consider that a possibility. But I think it's because I'm defining success in such a different way now. And I think I could have my entire business scrapped and start over tomorrow or next year, and I would still feel like I have everything in life that I want. And that, I think, is what success is. I think it's actually peace with what you have, acceptance of who you are, and love, like a loving internal relationship in your mind with yourself and with others. Like, I think that it all starts with what you think about yourself and what you think about where you are, and having love for all of it, and having peace with whatever is. I think that that is actual true success, because I have had monetary success. I have had, socioeconomic success, but none of that means anything without the relationship that you have with yourself and without the love that you have for yourself. Otherwise, you will just keep aiming higher and higher and chasing more and more and never feeling fulfilled, because stuff can't fill you up. That hole is inside.
I know that you talk a lot about self-validation and the importance of it. And as a business owner needing that, can you talk a little bit about that, especially in relation to not relying necessarily on your clients to validate whether or not you are a good coach or validate whether or not your business is successful?
Yeah. I think this validating yourself conversation, we could talk about this for days, by the way. Just this will be brief, but we can talk about it for days. I think it's so important because it is very easy to, and we are trained, and conditioned to look outside yourself for approval. And the more and more you approve of yourself and are willing to learn and adapt and grow, that is like where the magic and the juice is. And so what I mean by that is like, yes, you might have a client who criticizes or who decides they don't want to work with you anymore, or decide that they don't like you anymore, or don't like the way that you coach them, or don't like a message that you put out, or, don't like a podcast episode or whatever it is. And there's room for, yes, that could be true. Whatever's happening out there could be true, and I can still love myself, and I'm committed to doing better. And I think that that is truly the key to growth as a human. And I also think that when we're always looking for validation outside of ourselves, we end up accidentally people pleasing, whether we mean to or not, right? So if you're always thinking about, what about this client who didn't get results? You can be problem solving for them, or you could be problem solving for the people who are getting the best results. And wherever you direct your brain is what you're going to call more of into your business. And so, yes, you want to be learning and helping the people who may or may not be getting results, or who may be criticizing or whatever, but you also want to have your brain focused on, and who are the ideal clients who are getting what they came for, who are getting the results, and problem solving for them as well. That makes sense.
Yes.
I think I kind of went on a tangent there, but.
Yep. I'm currently reading Patriarchy, Stress Disorder. And I just got to that whole section of, our human brains focus on the negative, the survival, 100%. Let's make sure we don't die type of thing. And to the point where it takes several seconds for us to even recognize or register the positive. And so I think that also kind of ties in there, like you were saying, with the idea of, are you focusing on the person that's not getting the results, or are you focusing on probably the dozens of people that are getting results? So
yeah. And I think that, it's really useful to always be directing your brain to support you, to love you, to have compassion for you, right? Like creating that internal friendship relationship is really important. I think it is the key to getting to 7+ figures always, because the bigger you get, the more criticism there will be, the more haters you will have, the more people who will find your thing and go, ew, I'm not that, right? Who will set themselves up in opposition to you simply because you're out there making bigger waves and being seen by more people. And you will have people who get angry with you. You will have people who leave your program en masse, perhaps. And the more you love yourself and are kind to yourself, no matter what happens, the more success you're capable of, because none of that will stop you. It might make you pause for a moment, and process and learn from that. But then you got to get up and keep going. Like resilience and persistence are the key entrepreneurial traits. And what's under that, what makes that possible, is self-love and self-validation and filling your cup no matter what's happening. Because there are going to be people who don't like you. Welcome to life. If people don't like you, you aren't saying enough things. You aren't taking a stand somewhere.
Very, very true. I think as you were talking, even if a client is getting great results, eventually they're going to leave. They're not going to be with you forever.
Yeah.
And so it reminded me of your other guideline on focusing on the long-term legacy. So if you're not self-validating and you're relying on your clients are eventually going to leave.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you going to continue to work towards the long-term legacy that you're trying to build, and what that looks like?
Yeah. Well, and I think we as coaches forget that too, that, we might have our fuck yeah clients who are 100% in love with everything that we say and do. And we're also not in the business of keeping them for 20 years, right? Our business model is to help them and then help them help themselves so that they can fly on their own. And I think we just forget because our brains, we have human brains that get very focused on us and our goals and our drama. And when you're thinking about like the longer term legacy, you aren't going to be able to help everybody, but you are going to be able to help more and more and more people at, different price points with different programs. And if you're only ever thinking about the one person that you really like need and are totally attached to them sticking around, you're going to miss all the other people who also would benefit from working with you in different ways at higher levels.
Now, when you talk about long-term legacy, one of the things you said in that episode 36 was not so much worried about today, not so much worried about tomorrow or next week. We're working on 2 years from now, 5 years from now. So, when I heard that, I was kind of like, yeah, so let's not freak out about the 0 likes on that Instagram post that I put today.
Yes.
So can you talk a little bit about more how you apply that to your business?
Yeah. I mean, this concept came from, I think it's Simon Sinek, The Infinite Game. Is that the right book? I don't know. We'll have to look it up. I can't remember who wrote it, but it's called The Infinite Game. But it is essentially about being more focused on your goal 2 to 3 to 5 years from now over whatever's happening today. That doesn't mean that you are ignoring what's happening today, right? It just means you don't get in the weeds of the failure and the things that don't work today. And one of the reasons that this was so important to me is I had a very strong, I call it a give up pattern. Like I would post something to social media, no one would sign up, I would want to quit. Right? I get real hyped up the next day. Oh my God, I'm so inspired. I'm going to say this thing. I'm going to post this thing to all of my social media. Lots of people are going to sign up. I know I'm creating a client today. And I would get crickets and I'd be like, all right, fuck it, burn it down. I'm done. It's never going to work. Never mind. And it was simply because I was so attached and I had so much riding on each thing that I put out that if I couldn't visibly see it working, if I could not measure that, okay, I said X thing and I got Y in return immediately, that I just wanted to give up. And if that's the way that your brain is working in your business, it's going to feel terrible. It is going to suck. You are going to create a business that you hate, and you might not even know that you're doing it accidentally. And what really helped me shift from that is like everything that I put out there is just filling up, those machines in arcades that have all the quarters and they have like the little shooters. And so you put your quarter in and you line it up and you shoot it and it hits on this mound of quarters and there's a like slider bar. And at some point the quarters like fall over, and sometimes it's one at a time and sometimes it's like a landslide. Mm-hmm. That's the way that I started seeing my marketing, was like everything that I'm doing, I'm just aiming quarters and eventually this thing is going to slide over and fill up my bucket back in return. But if I'm expecting every single quarter to land, I'm just going to be disappointed all the time, because that's quote unquote failure. Business is 99% failure, 1% success, or maybe it's 90%, 10%, something like that. But your success is built on lots of quarters that miss, but they pile up and eventually they slide back over to you. And once I started seeing that long-term view that like, am I willing to drop quarters? Am I willing to drop wisdom and market and sell over and over and over forever until I figure it out? Am I in this business for the long term? And my answer was yes. And then I dug even deeper and I was like, okay, why? Why is that important? So that I could remember to lock back in with, oh, I want to help all these feminists kick over the fucking patriarchy with their businesses, whether it's whatever they're selling or whatever services they're helping people with or whatever they do with their money once they make it, right? Like, then I was like, oh, yeah, I'm willing for this post not to work today. I'm willing to figure out how to do it better next time. I'm willing to keep dropping quarters into that machine until it slides over my direction. And that's what I mean by the long-term vision, like having that I'm so invested in the impact that I want to have over the next 3 to 10 to 20 to 30 years that whatever failure I'm experiencing today is just something to learn from. It's like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to tweak that and move on, even if it feels terrible in the moment, right? Like hardly any of my launches have ever gone exactly the way I thought they would. I've missed probably 90% of my goals. Still going to cross $1 million this year. Right? But that's why, because I didn't give up. And I didn't give up because I was so connected to why I'm here and what I'm doing for the longer term over what feels like ass today.
I think your comment about I'm going to figure it out, I tend to look at all of it as a science experiment of sorts, and you don't make your decision on one piece of data. You need a significant amount of data before you can make an informed choice, because I'm very much the give it up, fuck it type of person as well. And then it was like, yeah, I can't just be like, this doesn't work because I did one thing. Like, well, if nothing else, Instagram might have not shown that post to anybody. So how do I know? So, how did you find yourself as the feminist business coach? What was that journey like?
Oh, wow. I started coaching in 2015, and the first people that I started with for free or very, very affordable, were one, I just wanted to coach anybody. I was like, just let me coach anybody. And then I started specifically focusing on breast cancer survivors because I am one. And what I found was that it was really helpful for them, but it was really hard for me because it would bring up all the PTSD of being diagnosed, of going through surgery and chemo and all of that. And so while I loved them deeply and wanted to help them deeply, I didn't really know how to help myself in that way, so that it didn't feel so drowning and triggering and awful, right? Like, so I didn't need a whole day to recover from coaching like 2 or 3 people. I was like, this is not a terribly sustainable business model. Either I need to fix this for myself and help myself, or I might need to change niches. And I ended up doing both. But 2016 happened, and looked around at all of these women in my Facebook feed and in my Instagram feed, and they were experiencing the same kind of shock and PTSD, sort of the gut punch, very similar to a cancer diagnosis. And I was like, oh, I am also pissed off. I am also feeling this. I can help these people. And so I started working with women who were speaking up more and deciding to take on political stuff, whether it was, advocacy online or actual, like going to the Capitol, or, starting to work for nonprofits or starting their own nonprofits or running for office. I was like, I can help them not burn out by the news cycle, by everything that's going to be going the way that we don't want it to go right now. Because if that's all the things that your brain is looking at, your brain gets mentally tired and everything feels like despair, and it's really easy to give up. And I was like, we don't have the space or the time for anybody to give up. So let's sort of all do the work we're here to do. And I worked with them for a couple of years, and then I started also working with political candidates because I was like, okay, I can help them, or I can help the people who are going to be impacting thousands of people. So I worked with a lot of candidates as well here locally in Georgia, and still do sometimes. And then I realized, I work so much on my business and I am coaching so many of my peers on their business, and that I really love coaching on business. And if you had told me that this was going to be my career path in college, I would have laughed you out of the building because I hated it. Accounting is the only class I ever dropped in all of college. I was like, no, if this is business, fuck it. I'm not doing that. This is terrible. And so, yeah, like having been on the other side of that, I was like, oh, how do I merge all of these things? I was like, listen, there are a lot of badass feminist women and feminist non-binary humans and men who really want to change the world the way that I want to change the world and do good with our money and help our communities and serve, in a variety of different ways. And business is one way. Politics is one way. There are thousands of different ways. Hey, this is my lane. This is an awesome lane. I love it. I love doing it. I love my people. I want to be here forever. Okay, this just makes sense. It's sort of like happened organically, I guess. It's not like I started there for sure.
I mean, who of us does actually start there? I mean, there's the joke that a lot of people in their 30s, 40s, even 50s are still asking, what would I do when I grow up? So,
Absolutely.
If somebody was looking at their business right now and how they run their business, and they have a desire for incorporation of more feminist ideals and guidelines, where would you tell them to start?
I did a whole episode on books to help grow your business in 2022. I would start there. But I think really just thinking through, so there are a couple of books specifically. So there is Proposals for the Feminine Economy by Jennifer Armbrust. It's a beautiful yellow book, very readable, very easy to read. And then Feminism, A Key Idea for Business and Society by Celia Harquail. That is a bit deeper and a bit more dense, but it's also a really valuable read. So a lot of what I've put together has come from my own experience, but it's also come from and put together from books like these. And I think it's really important to say that and give credit. So if you would like to know more, I think it did a list of 12. There are, 10 more books on that list that are equally amazing and helpful in creating a feminist business. And I think what's important to know is that there aren't any specific guidelines and there's no perfect or right way to do it. And start wherever you are. Pick one small thing and make that change, and then adapt as you go. That is truly feminist, adapting and learning and growing as you go, and allowing it to be imperfect and to be a little messy while you're figuring it out is so important, because you're not going to do it perfectly. And if you wait until you're like, okay, but I have to read all of these books before I get started. No, just pick one thing. Listen to episode 36 for the Bad Bitch Entrepreneur podcast. Pick one thing and start there. And the one thing you can pick could just be, I'm just going to let myself be imperfect while I do this, while I learn this. That is an incredibly powerful and useful place to start. And checking any and all shame at the door, because it's just not useful. It won't help you learn and it won't help you get better. And that's what I think the world needs right now, is all of us to do the best that we can from a lens of love and compassion and loving all humans for all of humanity.
And I think too, with feminist work and just getting started, and especially from where you're at, it's like anti-racist work. Mm-hmm. You're probably going to do it wrong. Yeah. Or you're going to do it right in somebody's eyes, but wrong in somebody else's eyes. And the same is true for feminism. So you can't do it all right per everybody. So do the best that you can and what is part of your core values.
Yeah. And that's, to me, a really big one is anti-racism. And we're all going to do it imperfectly. And it's okay. Just get started. Start somewhere.
Now, I believe, if I remember correctly, you have a group program that you will be opening doors for at the end of spring. Is that correct? Because I'm pretty sure I just put myself on the wait list for it.
The first week of May.
Okay.
Yep.
Can you talk a little bit about that program?
Sure, of course. It's called the Bad Bitch Mastermind, and it is a group for 20 to 25 kick-ass feminist women who want to grow their business with feminist guidelines to learn how to sell and market in a way that doesn't feel icky or gross and create the impact, the income, and the business that you want to have without wearing yourself out. That is what we're all here for. And we have folks who come in making $5,000 a month, $20,000 a month, $40,000 a month, and on up. And there's room for everybody. The people who get the most out of it and do the best work the fastest have already made six figures. But if you haven't, that's okay. Apply anyway. There's room for you. 100%. You'll get there.
Can you talk a little bit about the power of being in a group? Because I think there is the mindset that one-on-one is more valuable than group coaching. And that has not been the experience that I have witnessed. I think they're both valuable as equally, but there's something about group coaching that's pretty magical.
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting because I think they are both valuable. And then I think that the misconception is that you're going to get more from one-on-one attention to your brain. And I think that comes from this thought that we're all special snowflakes and somehow uniquely different and fucked. And it's just not true. Most of us have the same basic psychology and while we may not have the same things going on in our lives or the same context that you live your life, our thoughts are very similar. Our struggles in our businesses are very similar. And business is pretty simple. You market, you sell, you scale. And the things that keep us from doing that, the thoughts that keep us from doing that are all pretty similar. But I think you don't know that if you're in a one-on-one silo. It's real easy to think, well, no one else thinks this way. Everyone else is way more successful than me. I must be screwing it up or doing it wrong, or I'm broken somehow. I can't do it. And when you're in a group of 20 people who are right there with you, or even just a little ahead, and you see them at 200K, 300K, and you're at 50, and they still have the same thoughts and are working through the same thing, it's so comforting to know, oh, this is just our brains being a dick, just our brains, having been conditioned by a patriarchal culture that tells us to stay small, stay humble, don't brag. You're not good with money, all the damn things. And like, once you really are able to see it come up for everybody who's with you, it's like, oh, okay, this is just run of the mill bullshit that's running through all of our brains that we're all going to be tackling and dealing with at different levels and at every level of our business. And I'm not screwed. I'm not alone. This is not as hard as my brain wants it to be. We can do this. I'm watching people do it. And I think that that's super valuable too. Is like when you see people do it, if you can use that on purpose for your success, instead of thinking, well, they've done it, so I can't, right? Instead of adding in the compare and despair. Oh my God, you are so capable when you frame everybody's success as your success. And that's the very first thing when people join the group one of the very first things that I tell them is like, we're going to be reporting numbers every month. This is just data. This is just to help me help you faster. This is not something to spin about or feel shame about or drown yourself in compare and despair and think that you aren't doing it right. We just want to see, where are you? How can I help you go faster or get where you want to go more effectively? That's all this is, just data.
Well, I want to thank you so much for being here. Can you tell everybody where they can find you?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. I am on Instagram at Melanie Childers Coaching and on the internet at melaniechilders.com. I was like, what is it called? Oh yeah, it's an internet. My website is melaniechilders.com. And I'm also on Facebook at facebook.com/MelanieDC, like our capital. That's all the places that I am for now.
Well, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you taking your time out.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for listening to Here's What I Learned. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. Ta-ta for now.